High blood pressure affects nearly half of all adults in the United States. Half. And most of them are doing something about it, watching their salt, taking their medication, and trying to eat better. But the problem is, most people's numbers are barely moving in the right direction. And I see this every single week in my clinic. People who have been managing their blood pressure for years, sometimes decades, that are still missing the most basic things that actually lower their numbers. Not because they aren't trying, but because nobody ever sat down and explained it clearly. I'm Dr. Mitch Rice, a practicing board-certified family medicine physician here in the United States. And in today's video, I'm gonna give you the 6 basics that most people with high blood pressure have never been taught. Not 6 pills, not 6 restrictions, 6 things you can actually do starting today that work with your biology instead of against it. And before we get into them, I want to say this clearly. The people I see who finally move their numbers aren't the ones who are trying harder. They're the ones who finally understand the full system. So let's build that picture, starting with the first piece of advice that you've probably heard your whole life that's actually only half right. The number one piece of blood pressure advice in the world is to cut your salt. This isn't necessarily wrong, but it's massively incomplete. Your body doesn't just respond to how much sodium you eat, it responds to the balance of sodium and potassium. Think of it like a seesaw inside your blood vessels. Sodium's on one side, and it tightens arteries, tells your kidneys to hold water, and your blood pressure goes up. Potassium's on the other side. It relaxes arteries, tells your kidneys to flush sodium out, and your blood pressure comes down. The problem is most people are drowning in sodium and nearly empty on potassium. The average American eats about 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day and only about 2,600 milligrams of potassium. The recommended amount for blood pressure is 3,500 to 4,700 milligrams. That gap is enormous, and no amount of salt restriction fixes it if the potassium stays low. Studies show raising potassium alone can lower systolic blood pressure by 5 to 8 points without touching sodium at all. The best way to get potassium is through your diet and eating things like beans and lentils, sweet potatoes and avocados, leafy greens, especially spinach, bananas, plain Greek yogurt, and salmon. Stop obsessing over the shaker and start adding potassium. That is the real fix. The next basic thing to lower blood pressure naturally is something that most people don't connect to blood pressure at all, but it's probably the most powerful lever in this entire video. If I had to pick the one thing that's the most underrated in terms of optimal blood pressure control, it's this: sugar. Not just candy, the sugar hiding in juice, flavored yogurt, sports drinks, granola bars, and most breakfast cereals. It's the stuff that comes in healthy looking packaging. So here's what it does. When you eat too much fructose, your liver makes uric acid as a byproduct. High uric acid blocks nitric oxide, your body's natural signal to open and relax blood vessels. Think of nitric oxide as a dimmer switch for your arteries. Uric acid breaks that switch, and vessels stay tight and pressure stays high. At the same time, sugar spikes insulin, and high insulin tells your kidneys to hold on to sodium. So even on a low sodium diet, hidden sugar is keeping your pressure up through the back door. It's like trying to drain a bathtub with the faucet still running. I call this the insulin effect, and most people never see it coming because it doesn't taste like a problem. The fix to this is to cut sugary drinks. Soda, juice, sweet tea, sports drinks, and remove foods with sugar in the first 3 ingredients. You want to try to replace this with water, unsweetened tea, and whole foods. This one change moves the needle more than cutting salt does for most people. Now, the next basic is all about exercise, and it's not the kind of exercise where you have to go to a gym and spend hours sweating. Everyone knows exercise is good for lowering blood pressure, but what many people fail to realize is there are specific movements that work better than others in terms of lowering your numbers. The strongest evidence we have is with something called isometric exercises, which is holding a muscle under tension without moving. There's no weights required, no running, just steady pressure. The simplest version of this is hand grip training. You want to squeeze something firmly, like a grip trainer or a rolled up towel, and hold that for 30 to 45 seconds, and then relax and repeat this 4 to 5 times. Multiple studies show regular isometric exercise can lower systolic pressure by 8 to 10 points, which is about the same as first-line blood pressure medications. Why? Well, the repeated squeeze and release teaches your blood vessels to relax more fully over time. It's like taking your arteries to physical therapy. Hand grip training, 4 sets per hand. Other isometric exercises you can try are wall sits, holding for 30 to 60 seconds and repeating 4 times, or planks, which is the same idea, just a different muscle group. If you pair this with a 30-minute walk most days, that's another 5 to 7 points, and those two habits together are extremely powerful. Tip number 4 is not optional, and it's fundamental for lowering blood pressure. What I'm talking about is sleep. Did you know that one night of poor sleep, just one night, can raise systolic blood pressure by up to 10 points for that next entire day? While you sleep, your blood pressure is supposed to drop 10 to 20%. This is called nocturnal dipping, and it's a critical repair window for your heart, arteries, and kidneys. When sleep is poor, that dip doesn't happen. Your body wakes up the next day already behind. Sleep apnea deserves a special mention here. It's one of the most underdiagnosed causes of blood pressure that won't come down, even on medication. Every time breathing stops, oxygen drops and your body surges with adrenaline. Blood pressure spikes, and this can happen dozens of times per night. So if you snore, feel tired after a full night's sleep, or if your blood pressure is hard to control, ask your doctor about a sleep study. For sleep in general, you want to aim for 7 to 9 hours each night. Older adults don't need as much sleep as someone in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. You want to aim for the same bedtime and wake time every day, even on weekends. Try to sleep in a cool, dark room and no screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed, and do your best to try not to drink alcohol within 3 hours of sleep. Now, the next basic thing surprises people because it has nothing to do with food or weight or exercising. The thing is that blood pressure is not just a plumbing problem, it's also a nervous system problem. Your body has 2 settings: fight or flight, where the heart beats faster, the vessels tighten, and the kidneys hold sodium. Pressure goes up, and the rest and digest state, where the heart slows, the vessel relax, and the pressure comes down. Now, your body cannot be in both of these settings at once. And in a healthy body, these balance each other. But under chronic stress, the fight or flight switch gets stuck on, and blood pressure stays elevated all day and all night. The fix is learning to flip that switch on purpose. And one of the best ways to do this is to breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose, and then slowly exhale for 6 to 8 seconds through your mouth. That longer exhale activates the vagus nerve, which is the main line between your brain and your heart, and tells your whole cardiovascular system to slow down. 5 minutes daily can lower readings by 5 to 10 points in the moment, and if done consistently, it lowers your baseline. The final basic on this list is to take the right supplements for the right deficiencies. Now, supplements aren't magic, but the right ones for the correct individuals can honestly make a significant impact on your blood pressure. A few of the main ones that I recommend for my patients are magnesium glycinate, potassium, and coenzyme Q10. Magnesium glycinate is important because about 75% of all people are deficient or low in magnesium. Low magnesium means blood vessels stay tighter than they should all day, every day. A meta-analysis of 38 randomized controlled trials found 365 milligrams daily produced meaningful drops in both systolic and diastolic pressures. Magnesium glycinate is the form that I recommend most because it's well absorbed and easy to digest. For potassium, I really recommend food first, which was covered in the first basic tip, but supplements can help improve potassium in your body. I would definitely first check with your doctor because any issues with your kidneys, you want to hold off on too much potassium. And the last one, coenzyme Q10, is especially helpful if you're on a statin. Statins block the same liver pathway that produces CoQ10. Low CoQ10 affects muscle health and blood vessel function. This is definitely worth a conversation with your doctor. If you want the best and most affordable versions of these supplements on Amazon, I'll put the link to those in the description below. Now, if you want everything that we talked about today in step-by-step detail to show you exactly how to lower blood pressure naturally, I put all of that together in my blood pressure blueprint. It's my free guide that I put together talking about all the things we did today and even a little bit more. It goes into much more detail than a single video could. If you're interested, you can grab it for free using the link in the description. Finally, for lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors. This is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 14. Now, if you want to go deeper on the real root causes of high blood pressure that even doctors tend to miss, I have another video explaining each one of those, and you can check that video out right here.